Good afternoon, folks. This is Alan King reporting to you from Metro Detroit with zero reporting experience. Just coming to you to spread the message with Infowars.com. Little information that I found troubling that I think you guys might also. I bet you didn't know that your former President George W. Bush was found guilty of war crimes in November of 2011 and labeled a terrorist.
Former U.S. President George Bush and his former counterpart Tony Blair were found guilty of war crimes by the Kuala Lumpur War Crimes Tribunal, which held a 4-day hearing in Malaysia. The 5-panel tribunal unanimously decided that Bush and Blair committed genocide and crimes against peace and humanity when they invaded Iraq in 2003 in blatant violation of international law. The judges ruled that war against Iraq by both the former heads of states was a flagrant abuse of law and an act of aggression which amounted to a mass murder of the Iraqi people.
Bush and Blair are found guilty under the same law that applied to the Nazis after the end of World War II. They are international criminals guilty of Nuremberg crimes against peace, and they should be prosecuted by any state in the world that gets a hold of them. And we will continue our efforts to bring Bush and Blair to justice and put them in jail.
In their verdict, the judges said that the United States, under the leadership of Bush, forged documents to claim that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. They further said the findings of the tribunal be made available to members of the Rome Statute and the names of Bush and Blair be entered into a war crimes register.
There is also a recommendation that this be circulated to states because all states have universal jurisdiction.
George W. Bush and former Prime Minister Tony Blair were both found guilty of war crimes and labeled terrorists, placed on a national global terrorist watch list. They have asked that any state in the world that may come in contact with these two gentlemen capture and detain these people and help bring them to justice. They have committed crimes against not only Iraq, but they've also committed crimes against the American people by allowing the system that's in place today to continue. They were some of the founding fathers, I'd say, in this corrupt government. I remember back in the 80s when I was a young child seeing George H.W. Bush on TV talking about one thing we needed was a new world government, a new world order.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
And I'm seeing it come into place now here in America. George W. Bush placed the Patriot Act in, which restricted a lot of our privacy and our rights. And now here we go with President Barack Obama, a man who will not even give us legal documents to prove his credibility of an American citizen, is placing these restrictive demands on the people and on, I would say, on our military, forcing them to carry out these unlawful acts, claiming that he has dictatorial authority over everyone, that he doesn't need Congress or anything. I think this is insane. Our presidency is corrupt so far. We have illegal voting machines in here, fooling the public into thinking that they have a choice. Can we go to some footage?
Could you please state your full name for the record?
My name is Clinton Eugene Curtis,
And where do you reside?
Tallahassee, Florida.
And what is your profession?
I'm a computer programmer.
Would you please speak into the microphone so the audience can hear your testimony?
I'm a computer programmer.
Mr. Curtis, are there programs that can be used to secretly fix elections?
Yes,
How do you know that to be the case?
because in October of 2000, I wrote a prototype for President Congressman Tom Feeney at the company I worked for in Oviedo, Florida, that did just that.
And when you say did just that, it would rig an election?
It would flip the vote 51-49 to whoever you wanted it to go to and whichever race you wanted to win.
And would that program that you designed be something that elections officials that might be on county boards of elections could detect?
They'd never see it.
And that there shows you these voting machines can be frauded. They have been frauded. They are being frauded. The people who made the machines have told us they're being frauded. I actually have information to believe that the company that owns most of the electronic voting machines is owned by a company in Spain, which is in return owned by 10 people over in the UK, 2 of which own Goldman Sachs, and one of which was, of course, the head of Tony Blair's private and secret operations. So I think, people, we need to wake up and we need to realize that this is insane. Our government is doing some wild things, and we need to wake up and see that this needs to stop, and this needs to stop now. This is Alan King, 3782, reporting to you from Metro Detroit, from Infowars.com.